Welcome to your ground. My name is King Boaz, and like all the time, we amplify new voices. And again, what we do, we also bring you some golden voices that have been around with some new stuff that they're going to give us. But today on the show, I have what I would say is one of the legends in the game. Is someone, as far as music is concerned, has been around for some time as a musician, as an artist manager, a marketer, and a publicist. TYTAN Skhokho, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. You make me sound old, yes. I'm still trying to, go up to the time. Oh, you see this cut? Supposed to make me look young. But yeah, thank you, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I have a young man, TYTAN. There's a company so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How are you doing, man? It's been a long time, man.
It's been ages, man.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. I remember first time I met you was on TV. Like we were
Yeah.
doing TV, man.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me new things. I'm like, so change it. This is not the boss I know. And I'm
Yeah.
sure you're also shocked. Like this guy is here now. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
been,
think like
been a
the
while.
much has changed. So we'll try and get into those things as we go along. So
Yeah.
maybe to start off with, let's go back to your upbringing. Where did you grow up in Zimbabwe? I know that you spent some or most of your time in Harare and Bulawayo and somewhere else. How was your upbringing like?
My upbringing was good actually. I grew up in Harare, but it was always in Bulawayo because my dad was a Bulawayo boy,
Oh,
always in Makwekwe land. So as umfana lokishini, he never left Bulawayo.
no, so
So
like,
always in Bulawayo, whether it was weekends for football, especially when Poso is playing, you
yeah,
know that he's there, right? So
oh,
each time we would go, so again, and it was really eye opening because he also had quite a trajectory, growing up because he didn't grow up, rich. He was poor, then went abroad for school, scholarship, and came back. So I had a lot of wealth in knowledge that I
yeah,
got from him, and even up to that, I think the relationships he had uh, are still maintained because these people became family. His friends, they still check up on me, Lan. So it's been good. My mom as well um, was in that same space that he met in school and all that. So they they had those fairy tale kind of relationships.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, obviously we don't have those anymore, but they they had those
yeah,
kind, and it was inspiring to watch. So I learned a lot growing up. I grew up in Harare. That's why my Shona is perfect. I switch, and people get shocked. That, can we not?
yeah.
I choose supposed to be Ndebele. I said no, I'm Zimbabwe. But that means I can speak any language in Zim if need be, if I learn.
Yeah,
So yeah, my dad died when I was 9. That changed my life completely. I started taking care of home. It wasn't an easy life. I've gone through certain stages of even as young as I was. I used to sell veggies by the corner, umpita, lan.
yeah.
I had a passion for art and craft as well. So I used to do curios, you know.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, the stone particularly, not wood. So I
Yeah,
used to be curious. I'd make a number and also sell for the people at the workshop where I was, because it was a bunch of us. These older people, people with families. I mean, I was just an 11-year-old, you know, doing this. So I'll do that, take the curios to Vic Falls, where my granny is and my aunt, and some I would take to Wange. So because that's the area. So
yeah,
literally pack it up into a bus, go and sell and come back. So I was always enterprising as a child because I always thought, you know what, my mom needs help. My mom needs help. So
yeah,
that's what I always used to do. growing up again. Then I went to boarding school, which was hard for me because my sister was already in boarding school. So I had to leave mom. My mom was on her own because it was the three of us. I only have one sibling. Her name is Kukuletu. So it was really hard going. I never wanted to be in a boarding school. Katana. I went to Nyanga High School, Maris Brothers, Nyanga. And that's like the end. It felt like the end of Earth.
I
So
can imagine.
yeah, it was deep in the punt. So, but the education was good. It was fantastic. We had a lot of geniuses come out of that space. So you have the right influences around you, which is great. But at O level, I moved to Kutama College, which is a sister school of Maris Brothers, still Maris Brothers. So it was Francis Xavier, Kutama College. Where I did my A level, and the purpose of me moving was I wanted to be closer to home. So if my mom is not feeling well or whatever, if she needs any help, I can quickly dash home. So for those who don't know, Kutama College is in Rimba, just next door to the president, the ex-presidents. Okay, there's no ex-president. He's always a president till after that. Yeah, Robert Mugabe's place. So it wasn't far. It was really close. So during that time, I was already an artist because in high school I started performing. Motivation became girls, of course, because I was at a boys' school, so standard. But music was already there, and started performing. Believe you me, I used to dance as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it left at some point in time when I discovered I don't like sweating. Then it left. So I used to dance as well. I used to perform. On holidays, I used to DJ. So I used to DJ with my best friend,
Yeah.
and we had dreams back then. His name is Walter Chawata, Mr. Elders, as most know him, who happens to be the person who has been doing amazing videos of mine, Coco, Bo, and all that. He's been doing a lot of good work. He's done Takura's Maobama and whatever. So we had a dream. We're like, okay, at some point in time, we're gonna pick what we want. We're mainly in the arts, and entertainment. He's a fantastic DJ as well. But he then we got to a point where he was like, I just want to do film and design, you know. So that's what he stuck to. I stuck to music and design. So it's something we gelled in, especially on the design aspect of things. And yeah, and this all happened in waterfalls. And yeah, it was a great childhood. I experienced so much that by the time I was meant to pay for all my bills, when I was living by myself, I was like, you know what, I'm done. I've no FOMO. I don't have any fear of missing out. If there's parties or there's something, I'm like, in there, and I got the T-shirts, everything. Yeah, but it was great.
So do you remember, as a musician, the first song ever that you sat down and said, this is something that I want to write? And what genre was it?
It was a hip hop song. And the first song I did, but it was changed into a dancehall kind of song because I love I love dancehall reggae, you know.
Yeah.
So it's called Mr. Picasso if you look for it. So we shot a music video at in Harare and the main shots were at the National Railways, you know. Literally shot it there, and it was great. It had a vision. That time I used to push a lot of dance as well. So I got a group of dancers that we were pushing at the time. Me and Mr. Elders. Funny enough, at that time we had a clothing label for that particular brand. It was called Pondeons Tiripanyanga. So we had a nice design. Excited about life, pushing that as well. So that's the first song I did. it was really dope. It was produced by Mugo. Mugo. Yeah, he used to be a Zim rapper.
Yeah.
You know, then he became a producer. He's fantastic.
All right. I'll come back to Mr. Picasso a bit as we move forward. But I want to take you back when I first met you. It was at ZBC Office 80, ZBC production side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were there to audition for presenting. You were there to have your face on TV. At that point, what was the vision? How did you see your life from that standpoint to say, okay, if I make this audition, what comes next? What was in it for you?
So funny enough, yeah, I'm a bit of a strategist. So at that time, I'd released a little compilation of my music. You know, I can't even bring myself to call it an album because it didn't make it.
Yeah.
so so I really released that, pushed it on radio, but it didn't get much play. So I was like, I need to start learning, you know, I need to understand what's going on, what the market is like. Because obviously I quickly understood that probably that's not the way things are done, you know. So I thought to myself, the best way to actually sell myself is if people know me and my face.
Yeah.
If they don't know my face, then they might not even care, you know. Because I looked
Yeah.
at, I didn't have the budget to actually push myself on TV like that. So I thought,
Yeah.
I'm not bad at this presenting thing because I've been doing it in, social
Yeah.
circles, you know. So let me give it a go. Let me try and get on TV. So there was a casting call for that, and a friend of mine at church was like, "Hey, there's this casting call at ZBC. Let's go." Because we used to be active at church. I used to go to Christ Embassy
All
from
right.
Zimbabwe. So he was like, "Yo, let's go and do that." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, no problem." So I went, and yeah, that's when I met you.
Yeah.
That's audition. Yeah, yeah, that's when I met you.
All right. You did TV for some time, and then you released Mr. Picasso. This is from my side, having been behind the scenes
Yeah,
on
yeah,
production side. What I noticed with Picasso, there were so many experiments in terms of software. I remember that I asked you,
yeah, yeah.
what software did you use on the video on Mr. Picasso, because there were some things that I was like, to full G, there's something unique about this. This is not like the Adobe that we know. There should be something else. That was before I knew of plugins or what people do when they collaborate softwares and edit. What was the vision with Mr. Picasso at the time in terms of the graphics and the visual that we saw? And also, if you were to redo it today, what would you change with what you know now, with the experience that you have now? If you had to go back and have Picasso the song as it is and do another video, what would you change in it?
Yeah, I've got this habit of starting from the end, the last question, going back,
Yeah.
even in text. What I would never change it. Like
All
now, when I sit now and I've grown through music and experience and film and design, why I wouldn't change that is because at that very point, that was my purest form of creativity from the heart, in the sense that it wasn't about money. It
yeah.
wasn't about any superficial goal. Okay, then we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. It was mainly for the love of it. I was like, hey, I got a song and it sounds nice. Let's make a video. So literally, when we're making the video, the graphics, the 3D graphics that we would put into that were experimental. It was literally us saying, "Yo, what if it's off the head, like how boys imagine." It was off the head. We're like, what if that time when they step like this, the ground will just
Yeah.
crack? And we're like, you know what? Let's do that. So what we're using that time, we used Premiere, and also we're a bit ahead of our time. because we had already started experimenting with Da Vinci.
All right, all right, all right.
Yeah, so it had a lot of things, but it was heavy on the machine. So
Yeah,
you can imagine you're working on a machine that doesn't really have the capacity to hold such software, but we kept
yeah,
pushing it like, "Hi,
yeah.
I will do it again." you know. So we're a bit stubborn with our craft. We loved it, and I would never change anything then
All
because
right.
it was really good. Had a unit at that time. The, they had those, and literally someone was helping me out. They had just come into Zim. She was now in media pushing Uzaza,
All
Zandilen.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it was she ran the whole operation, for us,
yeah,
and it was refreshing because I would never have afforded Zaza. She was coming from, managing stars in SA. She
yeah.
knew the industry, how an industry should work. So I guess for her, it inspired her to, these young people are really trying to make things work. Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. And then from Mr. Picasso, you quickly transitioned into artist management right away, and you did not just manage like ordinary artists. You managed Cynthia Murray, you managed Donald Manucci, you managed Soul Africa, which was made of two
Yeah.
stars, Takura and
There were
Andre
three
Tate.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were three of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I
Uh,
remember. Who was the third person and where is he?
he's in South Africa. His name is McDonald, Donny
All right.
Pound. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, fantastic voice.
yeah.
That genuine. Um, if you hear him sing, you'll think of Blackstreet. The
Ah, all
voice.
right. Nice. Nice. Yeah.
Because he's got
So how
that.
did you find yourself in that space managing these guys?
I was still in that phase where I was trying to figure out the industry. In my head, I was still an artist, and I still have a passion for seeing other artists grow and do better. I'm not really that person who's ever in competition with anyone. I'm always amazed. I'm like, what? We need to get this out there. I get excited for people.
Yeah.
So at that time, um, I was pushing some marketing with a partner in a company called Black Pro. His name is Tafazo Chibam. You know,
All right.
so he was handling Cynthia Mara's portfolio here in the UK, and we we were like he literally threw Cynthia onto my lap because she had come to Zim and she was like, I want to set up here. I want to launch my album. I need help. So she was sent to me because he was like, yeah, this is the person who can actually help you do what you want to do. So yeah, we met at the Miracles, we discussed, and we realized, what, we can do this. So after a while, helping her find, literally during the whole time, I was helping her find a manager, by the way.
All right.
Yeah, I was helping her find a manager, and we just couldn't find one until the day we did an album launch. We got a lot of advice from very big managers, people who were managing the greats,
Yeah.
during that time. And they used to give us advice that we would think of and be like, no, because I was specifically a person who said, Cynthia, if you want to work with me, you need to trust me, So she trusted me to say no to advice from, these
Yeah.
popular people because they wanted her to launch her album in a very tiny way. And I told her, as someone who had failed, before
Yeah.
in music, I was like, Zwana, the moment you start small, you're never gonna grow big.
Yeah.
Never. This is what this country is like, and it will swallow you alive. So since you said you're serious and you want to make it, this is how we're going to do it. So we had a big event. You know, we had it was at Maestro. It was the first event at Maestro. Maestro had just opened up. We had Superman Dwanzir as you know as a guest. But a lot of people came through. They bought tickets. The first album was sold at 4K. It was amazing.
Yeah.
After that, I realized we sat down and she's like, "What? You know what? Why don't you give managing a try?" I was like, might as well do it then. Then that's how it started. And from then, I was in something called ABRA. At that time, I was heading African bred recording artists. Uh, you might know of Abra Sims. Juicer is the founder, Juicer Dementa, because I'd already started working with Juicer on Afrobeats. He gave me my first Afrobeat, so we're experimenting for a while. So we would scout for talent everywhere, like internationally, because that was our network. And we found Soul Africa, right? Soul Africa was in Gweru doing music with Oskid, you know, and Oskid was doing the most beautiful R&B music I've ever listened to from Zim. And yeah, a lot of people know him now for the fast up tempo beats, but ask him to make an R&B song for you. He understands that. So listen to the music, and I was like, you know what, these people need to make it. And Abra was literally a production house that, and still is, a production house that pushes for talent. It wants people to make it. And during that time, it was more of a creative group of different people with different skills, some publishers, some road managers, some artist managers, brand managers, and would literally bring our resources together to push art. I wasn't really concerned about myself, but I was still recording. So down the line, uh, South Africa comes to Harare. Started living with Takura at the time. Like lived with me for like 2 years. You know, yeah, we became brothers. You know, really trying to push this craft. It was a vision that I had where I now thought to myself, Yazi, you're not just an artist. You just don't want to be an artist. What exactly do you want? Then in my head, I was like, I want an empire. I want I want a one-stop shop where everyone can actually just grow in creativity in different ways. So in my head, I realized that we didn't have an industry that was beneficial to us. Well, there wasn't an industry at all because my living a body, money is not exchanging hands. So there's no industry in that case, you know. So I thought, let me start creating that bit by bit. Let me learn how to plug, learn how to manage, learn how to, to produce properly. I never delved into sound engineering, so I left it to people to do that. I started writing more songs, not just for me, but for the other artists as well. So it was something that drove me into, management more. So it was an exciting time because, stars came out of it, big stars. I don't know how I balanced that because I was also working at the bank, at ZB Bank, you know, I'd done a number of, ZBC work. I'd done that. And until I decided, yeah, I left the bank. I was like, now I want to do this because I was now earning money, more money from my passion than, my work at the bank as an IT person. So it was fantastic.
All right. Yep. So for those 2 years, management that you did was mainly before you came back as an artist was between 2013 and 2015. Would you say you achieved for the three artists that you might have worked with many artists, but for those three artists, would you say you managed to get the vision, the goals that you said to say, Cynthia, we are at A now, we want to go to B? Did you manage to get to those levels?
Very, very much so. Like awards came out of this. Like we're always on the big platforms. The last time you saw me was at OK Grand Challenge, and no one just gets on an OK Grand Challenge, list. It wasn't an easy one. So you have to be a star to be on it, and we managed to do that. I ticked all the boxes. It was fantastic, especially for Cynthia Mare and and Soul Africa. Soul Africa moved on after that, and
Yeah.
I think the only struggle I had was at the time I was now ready to actually fully push Donald Kanyuchi. Like, listen, man, Donald is one of the most gifted people. I won't even say artist because I'll be downplaying it. One of the most gifted people I know. No one plays the acoustic guitar like Donald. Ask any musician right now in Zimbabwe. Right now, he hasn't been active, but they know that there's a guy somewhere in Norton
Yeah.
who plays better, and he's a fantastic songwriter and all that. What inspired me was his story because um, not my story to tell, but basically he didn't have an easy upbringing, and he used to go to Pakare Paye to perform, and he didn't have shoes. He would perform barefooted, and Tuku is watching this. He's like, wow, this kid. And at that time he spoke to me like I didn't even think he knew I was there. I thought I was just yeah. So when Sam passed on, Dr. Oliver Mtukudzi, may soul rest in peace. He then passed on Sam's guitar to Donald,
Oh,
and
nice.
that was Donald's first proper guitar.
Yeah.
So all this time he would go in and perform, but he would ask for a guitar. Like, guitar, can
Yeah.
I, So yeah, should watch out for him because each time I think of him, I'm like, at some point in time, I'm gonna revive that if no one else does,
Yeah.
because he's worth listening to. He's fantastic. So I think that's my biggest regret, really. But
Oh,
he
otherwise, yeah.
did it on radio. He did get a lot of gigs. He'd get gigs. He'd get bookings. He was on a number of platforms, which was great. But I think I, Cynthia and I really, believed in him because he used to play for Cynthia as well. So
All
yeah.
right. Yeah. So you decided after that 2 year stint as an artist manager to come back and relaunch yourself in music. Then you moved away from dancehall, looking at Picasso. You moved into, you came up with two genres almost at the same time when you released Fagi Chugela, which is Faga, which was a great track. And then you had Kanawaro Pafata, which you did with
Oh yeah.
so with those two tracks at the time, the two different genres, was this on purpose? Were you experimenting, trying to say, should I go with gospel? Should I go with Faga? Because Faga is a party song, it's an upbeat song, it's a party song, and then you have Kanawaro Pafata on the other side. So what was going on?
It's for me when I was looking at music, I never really thought which genre should I sing. To
All
me,
right.
it's just music. I was thinking more like a producer than an artist. You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking, all right, this is the genre I need to stick to, and this is what I need to do. Because in my head, I was like, yo, you're not a seasoned artist,
Yeah.
so this is your time to discover yourself. This is your time to find yourself and experiment, get to think of different concepts and lay them out. Until you finally put your 5,000 hours in and think, yo, this is me. I've arrived. So, like I said, was experimenting on Afro beats with Juicer,
Yeah.
and Faga came through. The person who plays the guitar on Faga is actually Donald, and he features on it as a singer.
All right. Yeah.
And it was amazing. It's just like a power track. Funny enough, I submitted that song to Star FM, and they had um, this rating show. Like, I think it's Rated or Hated.
Yeah.
Uh,
Rated or
I
hated.
remember who was it? It was Nikki. She was hosting that show, and she said this song is shit. The song. So this is a horrible. What
Yeah.
is this? And I was like, huh? What is she saying? How
Yeah.
am I supposed him to like it? What is this woman saying? So So other on radio, they seem to like it, but she just didn't, you know.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't pursue it much, but it was great. It had nice graphics and whatever. Didn't do a video for it, but it was out there. It was amazing. Then I did. At that time, I was trying to merge live music into into digital. You
All
know,
right.
so I would record live, part half the song live, half digital. So Juice would make something. Then down here, I would literally get a guitarist to play or whatever instrumentalist, bass guitar, whatever. So we got to Kanawaro Pafatwa, which was
Yeah.
fantastic because I got to work with Mono
Yeah.
Mkundu.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what, I'm excited about this because I've been trying to tell these young artists that let's merge, let's try and, I want to get into these kind of vibes as well. And the way he played that lead guitar was like, you know what, I don't have money to pay this guy because he's a legend. He played with Tuku for years until now. He's that producer where if you want authentic Zimbabwean sound, you go to him. If you want it authentic, whether you play mbira, you play whatever. If you want authentic sound, you go to Clive Monomoku. So it was a learning process all the way. I hadn't arrived. I was
Yeah.
like, this is it.
Yeah.
So in that, I had my whole idea. I could have executed it better, but with vocals, I was like, yeah, there'll be a choir, whatever. I was like, yo, let's
Yeah.
do it. So he enjoyed it. Uh, it was mixed by Oscar as well, who is a producer who does authentic Zimbabwean sound.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot from Zimbabwean artists from that time, and since then I started collaborating with instrumentalists for my songs. So I could
All
have
right.
a song, but it always feels empty if I didn't get an actual,
Instrument.
musician to play certain things. Like if it's the keys have to be played by someone who's playing keys. I'm not going to draw them on the, on Fruity. They could
Yeah.
be
Well,
an idea. Yeah, yeah.
for people that might have missed Faga, maybe if you can just give us a snippet, and then they have a chance also to rate it and hate it. So
Okay.
Titan will just give us a bit of that, and then we move on to the next part.
All right. How long do you want me to play for?
Just 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a geek for music. Let me play. Afrobeats Warehouse.
Ngaphakama ngavuka ngiphume emgodini ngikhaba kube ngiphume emnandini umlilo kasathane ngacisha emanzini impilo yami ngafaka itshukela you wanna happiness supply utalabona tekhowaye nobody when I say the baga my feeling on supply you wanna happiness supply utalabona tekhowaye nobody when I say the baga yeah. So that was Titan back in 2015 with the song Faga. He says he didn't push it. I hope that people can appreciate the journey that you've gone through from Mr. Picasso to Faga and where you are now. And then 2016 was a big year for you. You came up with this song Mukoko. I think it was released on Valentine's Day, if I'm not mistaken, or around about that time.
Mukoko, the audio was released on the 15th of January,
January. All right.
2016.
15 years.
And yeah, and the video was released around about Valentine's time. Yeah.
Valentine.
So yeah, and it's crazy because Mukoko was ready the year before by September, by October actually. It was ready September. Yeah, it was ready by then, but we're like, the time we're thinking of releasing the song is the same time that the Jah Praisers will release songs, the big artists will release during that time, Winky D will release as well. We stand no chance against all that noise because it was ready end of year, and I was like, let's wait, let's be patient, and release it during dead time, right? And this is the time when everyone has released their stuff. Imali siphelile, khisimusi. And, people actually have time to listen to music calmly,
Yeah.
without being influenced by alcohol first,
Yeah.
So what we were doing before that was performances. Would perform the song. So
Oh,
if I had a show, or I had a show, would literally perform the song, sampling it and trying to check if people would like it. The first time I actually knew that this song was actually gonna do well was at Unplugged, the festival.
yeah.
Um, so it's an open air event for those who don't know it.
Yeah.
That would happen monthly. Outdoor event was great. So performed Mkoko there, and people really loved it. Then I got off stage. This is me minding my own business. I'm like, no one knows me as an artist. No one cares, rather. You know.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got off stage. The first person who spoke to me was Brayo Masegena. May you so rest in peace. He
Yeah.
was like, the next time you want to do something like this, call an old man like me to play his thing on it. It's like,
Yeah.
I was shocked. He said that, and I was like, you know what? Thank you for saying that. But yeah, my mind was blown. I was like, he just rated the song, you know. So if a person who has had generations of experience in music, it's not even his genre, by the way, but
Yeah.
he has all that experience enough to recommend the song and say this is a good song, then it definitely is a good song. So after that cosign, I was like, you know what? I can't waste this song. So we have to be patient. We got
Yeah.
patient, released it in um, in January, right? Uh, you know, it was mind blowing because if I tell you that there's not one uh, radio um, radio station that I released it to, you'd be surprised. Not one. And
Yeah.
then I swear, all the time I would go to radio stations and submit a CD and say, yeah, and whatever, yeah, can you play this? I'll plug properly according to their protocols.
Yeah.
This I didn't because I also was thinking, bruh, Beyonce doesn't come to Zim to submit music.
They
They
play
play
music.
it.
Yeah.
So obviously they play according to trend. So our focus was different now. We're like, let's push more online, because I used to do it a lot with Abra, but I was like, let's do that now. And when we release the video, it'll be great. So the promos and whatever, I was really putting that together from graphics. We did the shoot with Amara, crazy. Amara is exciting to work with. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had to shoot her. She was literally, I didn't have to Photoshop that. She was literally upside down on a tree, hanging.
Please, yes, I remember. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and we're like, yeah, this works. We did that. I designed the graphics. I did it, then it was out, and life changed. The video was out, and everything just changed. Everyone was going crazy about it, and I'm thinking to myself, bruh, I didn't see this coming. I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, it's a good song. I'm gonna, try and get somewhere. This is the goal. But you know when when you ask for the truth about something and it comes and you're not ready, you're like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
t- pretty much the opposite or similar to how it is in relationships. Where is it? Yeah, you need to tell me the truth, and then you're told the truth, and you're
Tell the
like,
truth.
what should I do with this? So it was fantastic. A lot of countries, because I was rapping in Devele and English in Mixan,
Yeah.
and I was there at the beginning. A lot of people didn't actually know who I was, and these countries that call on to Mkoko over time started claiming me. South Africa would say, "I, we're South Africa." Or Nigeria would say, "Nah, he's Nigerian." It was on a Nigerian playlist one time, like on
Yeah.
YouTube, and it was now on, because I did what I did is I've got this list with over 3,000 emails of radio stations, so I
Yeah.
plugged that. So it's literally shotgun marketing. Really, you don't really know where it's going to end up
Yeah.
until one day, a plugger, and she's an artist manager and a talent manager in Nigeria. Her name is Adesua. She hit me up and said, "I found this on the list of music that my boss asked me to listen to, and I really love this." She hit me up on Instagram and was like, "What? How did I end up in Nigeria?" You know,
Yeah.
and and you know how Nigerians are. Yeah? They really push music. They really, especially if they think that you're theirs.
Yeah.
So it really just blew up, and in no time we had 1 million views. That was mind blowing, because no artist or was Zimbabwean had ever reached 1 million views on YouTube. You know,
Yeah.
and I was like, what? This is happening. So that happened, and we got on some tours.
All right. Yeah. You took away my question there, because I wanted to ask your reaction on being an artist, part of a video that was the first to have 1 million views on YouTube. Because I remember that I would wake up the next day to check the views on Coco. Like, I think it was almost like a habit for the first maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks. Like, how is Mkoko doing? And I could see that, okay, these views are crazy, looking at the Zimbabwean artists at the time and some of the big artists that had produced music at the time. But Mkoko reached 1 million views before any other video did that. Yeah. Um, Maybe let's go into how this changed, how corporate viewed both of you, your brand as Titan, the Amara brand, as far as Mkoko, because I remember they were saying now Mkoko King, Amara Mkoko. There was
Yeah,
always
it was King Mukoko, Queen Mukoko.
Queen Mkoko. Yeah, there was always that
Yeah,
Mkoko now. Yeah,
yeah. We started just branding the whole thing, but with corporate now, corporate was excited about it. They were like, they really ate it up. They were like, okay, finally, of course, we have an artist we have two artists that can actually relate to the market in ways that we want. You have Amara, she's female, she stands for that, and a lot of girls would look up to her in that manner. And we have Titan. He can speak in Ndebele, sing Shona, mix up the whole bag, even in
yeah,
English. And um, corporate in Zimbabwe lacks a lot when it comes to the Matebeleland market. They don't know how to connect to that market, because I think how Bulayo, especially Bulayo, functions is it's self-sufficient, you know.
yeah,
But then again, headquarters for most of the operations are in Harare,
yeah,
So they found a conduit, which was me, and I started getting engaged um, in a lot of campaigns, GTEL, Tel One, Delta, Chibuku. It was a good time. It was a really good time. So all I had to do during that time is just churn out content, bring out new music and whatever. Um, Everything was great, but my biggest struggle was radio. Now, this is how it works. You release a song, it does well. You then it starts maybe high rotation and probably mid or high depending on how it's doing in the second month.
yeah,
Then In the third month, I'd prefer to sundown the record. So when I say we want to sunset it, it's literally a situation where we want low rotation on it, even if it's popular, so that makes way for the new songs that are coming.
Songs, yeah.
Because ideally, with or without releasing an album, you need to have at least, 3 to 4 records a year that, that push your album.
Yeah.
It was difficult because Skhokho was killing every other track that we tried to release.
Yeah.
It was killing. If to people in their heads, I'm sure even DJs. Well, if it's not Skhokho, then we don't want it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
featured on songs, but yeah, radio
Yeah.
killed new releases until I switched. I flipped the script, with Bo.
All right. Yeah. Let's come to Bo. Bo is a video that has so much controversy depending on who's talking and who's looking at it. And I will say, was it coincidentally prophetic in terms of what then happens as far as your relationships with the people that you got involved with after that, and your relationship with Stana at the time? Did you foresee all these things happening? What was your relationship status at that time when you wrote Bo, when you did the video?
Oh, okay. I was very much single, just like I am now. I was
Yeah.
very single. I was just focusing on craft and whatever. Um, the whole concept behind Bo was to get a number of cameos into the video, because that's what it works. That's how it's done.
All
And
right.
if you want to push a song, you get cameos in there where people can realize, okay, there's XQ, there's Dana, there's this person, and you recognize faces, and it adds value to the record. It was all professional, no personal connection, not friends with the cameos that came through, but they came through for work, and they really did well, pretty well. They did well. I think it's only coincidental that there's always a personal life in the background that's
Yeah.
happening. It's Let me put it this way: it's like when you go to church, yeah, and you're there with this, and the preacher is preaching, and you start thinking, you feel attacked sometimes because you're
Yeah.
thinking, does this person know my stories? Why is he
Yeah.
saying this? Is he talking about me?
Yeah.
And it was just a coincidence, I guess, that a lot of things that were in the video kind of related to what was going on in one of the cameos lives, and but nonetheless, it was fantastic. Everything was just mainly creative because we wanted to make sure it's worth it, because it was directed by Mr. Elders. The DOP on it, I could never ever afford. Like even now, big corporate companies like Econet pay him so much money just to hold his camera and do his work.
Yeah.
His name is Simon DeSwat.
All
You know,
right.
yeah, pretty much has his own media house, also a co-owner of Media Matrix, where a lot of people get their equipment and whatever. He's a camera geek, so he's a white guy. He's literally, rolling about doing his thing. So he understood the cinematics of it. And the reason why we brought in all that and really made a big deal about it is because we literally approached Mikkels and told them that their marketing is shit. That's what we said. And
Yeah.
we were in line and we showed them examples of our analytics and theirs. They're
Yeah.
like, it's not a good look for a 5-star hotel which is literally the Mikkels Group is the only, which is Mikkels and Vic Falls Hotel. These are the only hotels in Zimbabwe that are in the international directory.
All right. Yeah.
And if people are going to Zim, they don't think of the Mikkels, by the way. They hear Rainbow Towers first,
Yeah.
in Crown Plaza. And with all due respect, those hotels are shit compared to Mikkels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're saying this, and I could see the boss fuming. And the girl who brought the link, she works for the boss. I think that day she was like, I'm losing my job. So the next day they called up and said, yo, you can come and use the hotel. Use wherever you want. You'll get help from, from our staff, and good luck. And we also had an agreement for, we're gonna shoot a number of things after that, because we had a complete production house. We're gonna do some adverts for them,
Yeah.
and make it work. So it was interesting. So after saying that, I was like, this has to work. And we're the only people who've ever shot in the Mickles, you know. So yeah.
Yes.
So
So at the moment, how is your relationship with Stana? Is there any bad blood between you guys? Have you guys met up and moved on with life?
to be honest, to me, I think when I look at it, there wasn't any relationship to start with. Like I said, it was professional.
All
Uh,
right.
yeah. So from my point of view, it's more like I've never had problems with people, like, or him. Um, I think he's a very hardworking artist. I think regardless of people's taste when it comes to music. Um,
Yeah.
uh, when I looked at what was going on at the time, I just looked at it and said, um, he's one artist who will do anything to make it work. So it is what it is. I'm never really controlled emotionally or phased by how people take things or what people say about me. Um, all I knew it was my truth, and it wasn't connected to. There wasn't any plot. We were never friends. We never sat down and had a drink or shared a drink. So
Yeah.
to me, I was like, oh, okay. So if someone comes out and says, hey, he was my friend, and when I was like, yeah, typical rapper. It's all right. Yeah, yeah. So I was like, yeah, whatever, because
Yeah.
it is what it is. It didn't change anything. If anything, I would like to thank him actually, you know, because it's hard paying for marketing, like people to talk about you like that.
Yeah.
So and if anything, is a very influential and powerful artist in that sense, if anything, was the most is a rapper with the most accolades in Zim, you know,
Yeah.
across the board. So it was actually, if anything, to me, if I'm looking from a professional point of view, was an honor.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for doing that. A lot of people got to know about me because when you talk about me, then people come and check, they try and check your music and what I'm about, and they see my music. They're like, oh, okay. So I gained a lot of fans out of that as well, which helped push my career forward. So I'm very grateful for that moment. There's no bad blood at all.
Ah, all right, nice. Yeah, then before we go forward, maybe if you can give us a snippet of Mkoko, take us way back with that just nostalgic seconds of what Mkoko was, and I believe is still sounding the same. So let's just hear a bit of Mkoko and then we move on.
All right, no problem. Let me play something. Now that I'm here, I'll be a protector, be a my hardcore. So back up with the diamonds and go back and take it for I'll give you my heart. Baby, I did it to your mother. Nere mukazi chaiye, no siya na neze paga. Dinero raro no tapira kongero mama mukaga. Di batteru oko, baby. Di batteru oko, baby. Di batteru oko, baby. Ona kunaka, 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 ona kunaka. When I'm just with you, bafuna tatela. They love you so much, bayago kalela. I will not give up, nizaba valela. I'm stealing your heart, mina nginjenge sela bafuna kusalela. Just cause I'm with you, batiguza pela. You set me free, you can call me Mandela. I will just love you forever and never, and shout out the love from a big vuvuzela.
Yeah. Still sounding hard like it was. And then Mukoko took you on your first overseas tour, which was a UK tour. How did this come about, and how was the audience? How was the reception when you went for that first UK tour?
Wow, the reception was wild. Through Mukoko, I really made a lot of friends, you know. Some are still around, they're always in the background, you know, but I made a lot of good friends. A lot of people came through, and obviously, you know, you then discover relatives as well. You know.
Yeah,
Good
we know the African brothers.
relatives, you know. So it was great. The reception was fantastic. People in the UK really, you know, they loved the performances. I think for me and Amara, especially when it came to the song, the chemistry is great. So it made it easy. She's easy to work with. You know, she's someone who really loves the craft, very professional. She's seasoned. You know, so each time you learn a lot, even on tour. So it was really exciting because I think it gave us a jump start to what we're already doing. You know, she was already working on an album for a while, and I know I kept pushing her like this. You know, just do your album. So I think it brought up a lot of confidence as well when you're trying to do your work. The UK was fantastic. It was really great. I enjoyed that.
All right. After Bo, which was in 2017, to now, have you released any song that you think we have turned a blind eye on? There has been a media blackout that might have been avoided. If it's their song that you think this is a song the fans and the media should go to because it's that good, but for some reason we haven't looked
Yo,
for it.
there's a couple actually.
Yeah.
Um, some for different reasons. Um, there's one called "Let Me Fall."
All right.
"Let Me Fall" as
Is it the one with Spirit Fingers?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. "Let Me Fall." So one with spirit fingers. The actress in the video is Pride Mpofu. She's a
Yeah.
renowned actress. Does well in Zim on a number of films and a series line.
Yeah.
Fantastic. She's also in one of my other videos in Dipe Moyo. So there's a number. There's Dipe Moyo. There's Let Me Fall. Um, there's Chimoko that I feature on with Cass. That's such a jam. Uh, Love You More with Sunny. But there's Palma. I love that song. I
Yeah.
think that one, uh, I don't even know how to explain it. It was pushed in Zim, but the radio stations decided to censor it without letting it get to the censorship board. Because the
Okay.
censorship board would definitely say, hey, isn't
Yeah.
this player I was
I
it.
see.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, to me, it's just a romantic song, especially in audio. Um, they just blocked it out. I tried, and they're like, abanye abantu, in the group, speaking music, but we can't play that song. So there's those, but they're really good songs. I enjoy them from time to time.
Yeah.
But especially Let Me Fall. Let Me Fall is a bit of I went left a bit. It's a bit, it's EDM, but it was actually something that I think people should go and look for.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And then with that everything, you've managed to have your endorsements. I think they're both from Econet. How did this come about? I think you're still doing those. Are you still representing Econet on those two platforms?
No. We had two main endorsements during that time. There was the Econet ones were for applications called. I'm losing them because it's been a while. But I'm not presenting those at the moment. But it was something that I think there was Yo app or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were pushing apps, trying to go digital and all that. I'm not representing them at the moment, but it was great working with them. That came about from clearly the influence. Really, they could see, okay, I'm doing good numbers, online, and that's what they needed. They needed to push their apps and get a lot of subscribers onto their, you know,
Yeah.
their platforms. So
Uh,
yeah, it was fantastic working with EK because
yeah.
if you
How
do
you?
well this time, they really don't change. They keep coming back.
All right. Yeah. How have you creatively survived the lockdowns, the corona scare? Because most artists, or let me say all artists, make their money largely from performances. Even if you're going to get an endorsement, they need you to stand in front of crowds and do something.
Um, I do some film work,
All
uh,
right.
but mainly brand design, which is graphic design for different things. I'm part of a creative group called Zim Inspired
All right.
that has four people who do specifically events, from planning and management, catering, and culinary art. That side of things. There's um, creative design, there's brand design, there's also film, photography, and animation. So it's a one-stop shop for anyone who has a brand or anyone who has an event. You
All
know,
right.
so all that we cover, even web design and whatever. We that's how I've been surviving. That's
Yeah.
and time and again you get the campaigns that come through from other corporates that want you to share their work and share it on your platforms and whatever. I
Yeah.
mainly I mainly push on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook anymore. I used to be, uh, but it pretty much Facebook wasn't really the platform for me anymore because I would try and push work like new music or whatever. But it was always made into something it's not. Like it's there. Yeah, so I was like, well, why am I even here? So
Right.
yeah, so I pushed that on Instagram. So yeah, I that's how I make my money.
All
Um,
right. Yeah. So, what are you currently working on? Is there any music and albums, video, something that you can look forward to?
there's a song called "When I Say." I'm
All
working
right.
on a video for it. I'm gonna release it next month. The release date will come out soon. But yeah, it's a love song, and I think it's more. I've literally gone back to basics, back to who I was. So in the beginning, if you notice, I used to push a lot of me, which was
Yeah.
English and Ndebele. Oh, I never really sang a lot of Shona, but when I started singing Shona, I thought it's because I'm leaving out a big chunk of people as well in the
Yeah.
mix. So let me add that to my songs. So when I say is the next song, I love it. Um,
Yeah.
there's a number coming through, but this is the next song that I would love to bring out. It's a love song. It's like
All right.
goes, baby, when I say that I love you, Ntanda wena phela pe. Baby, when I say that I need you, Mfuna wena phela. Baby, mina ngiyazifela, fela, fela, ngiyazifela ngawe, fela, fela, ngempela. I love this song. Uh,
Nice. Yeah. Thank you. Be on the lookout for that track
let
from
me let me sample it.
TYTAN Skhokho. Yeah.
I'm gonna be in trouble, but I'll sample it.
Baby, when I say that I love you, tell her when I feel like me. Baby, when I say that I need you, when I feel like baby, midnight, fela, 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 fela. Yellow numbers on it. Every day's like the first time I've seen you. Not trying to be funny. Young one, all this so baby. This is yo, yeah, we see tire. Every day, diamond the tire. And when we meet, baby, it's fire. Got you hitting over. When I say I love you, baby.
Oh, nice. Thank you for the exclusive.
Yeah,
And play it before the release.
I'll be in trouble, but it's fine.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Titan. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me on earGROUND.
Thank you so much. That was TYTAN Skhokho, an artist, a publicist, a marketer, a graphic designer. He has a composition for a title. I cannot finish. I cannot exhaust those titles in one time. This is earGROUND and King Boaz. Until next time, I'm out.
Kumete. Fake